Welcome to the Merge and Center video. Let's open our spreadsheet and get started with the
tools. Let's begin by going to the Home ribbon. We'll go to the Alignment group, and what we'll be looking at today is the Merge and Center commands. Next, I would like to take a look at the drop-down arrow inside the Alignment group. So as you can see when I open it, it's on the Alignment tab. So this is where you can also get to the Merge cells and your text wrap and shrink to fit. You can also reach the pop-up box by going to a cell, left-clicking inside the cell, and then let's go ahead and do a right click, and then you'll go to Format Cells, and this will take you to the same area we was just in. It's just another way to access the tool. Okay, so there's your general review of how to locate your tools. Let's go ahead and get started with a few demonstrations. So the first feature I want to point out is how to center across a selection and how to merge and center. Now the difference between these two is when you center across a selection, you are telling Excel that you want to take the text and you want to center it across a group of cells. Now when you merge and center, you are telling Excel you want to combine the cells together to create one large cell, and then you want to center your text within that cell. Okay, so let's do a few demonstrations. What I will be doing first is centering across the selection, and then we're going to move into merge. What we are going to merge is the primary title. We're going to merge any repeating information as far as our categories. We're going to also merge repeating group information. So let's begin by going to cell B1. Now here's where I'm going to center across selection. Now I would like to point out that this cell contains the ABC Products and Inventory List title. It appears to be stretched across this entire section when it's actually only in cell B1. Now if I wanted to center this information across this selection, I would click inside of cell B1 and I would drag it all the way down. Next, I will go into my alignment group under Home ribbon, and I will get the drop down arrow, and I will simply go into the horizontal drop down, and here's where I'm going to say center across the selection. So now as you can see, my information is centered across this entire section. Now let's click inside of cell B1. As you can see when you look up at the formula bar, my cell B1 still contains my information, although it appears to be stretched out and centered across this section. What I would like to do now is merge and center this information. This works by combining these cells into one large cell. So let's go into cell B1. Let's select it and drag it all the way across. This time we're going to go up to the merge and center drop down. We're going to say merge and center. Now as you can see, it didn't move, but what did happen is the cells are non-combined, and this information resides in one large cell, which is titled cell B1. Now if we want to undo that, you will stay where you are, simply go up to merge and center, get your drop down, and simply say unmerge cells. Let's go ahead and put that back the way it was. So select cell B1, drag it all the way across. Let's go up to the merge and center and simply say merge and center. All right, so this gives you a nice clean centered title. What I would like to do now is to merge repeating information such as my categories and my group information. I'm going to go ahead and start out with cell B3, and I'm going to drag it over to C3. Next, I'm going to go to my merge and center drop down. I'm going to get the merge and center selection again, and I'm going to select it. You will get a pop-up that reads merging cells only keeps the upper left value and discards other value. So that's letting me know that I'm only going to be able to keep the value that's on the left hand side, which is fine because this is repeating information. So let's go ahead and say OK. So let's go ahead and do the same for category 2 by selecting cell D3 and E3. Let's go to the merge and center drop down. Let's say merge and center. Again, you get the pop-up. Let's say OK. Let's do the same for category 3. Select F3 to G3. Let's go to the merge and center drop down. Select merge and center. Say OK to the pop-up. Let's do the same for category 4. Select H3 to I3. Let's say merge and center. And again, say OK. So this gives you a more polished look and is less busy. So I would like to go ahead and do the same for my group information as well. Okay, so when you look at your group information, you'll see repeating information again. This time we're going to do this for rows instead of columns. So let's go ahead and highlight cell B5 and drag it down to B7. Go ahead to our Merge and Center and get the drop down and select Merge and Center. Let's say OK to the pop-up. And as you can see, the group information is now merged into one cell instead of 3. I'm going to do the same for group 2. I'm going to go to B8 and drag it down to B10. I'm going to head up to my Merge and Center drop down. I'm going to say Merge and Center. Again, I'm going to say OK to the pop-up. Let's do the same for group 3. Let's start with B11 and drag it down to B13. Let's go up to the Merge and Center drop down. Grab the Merge and Center icon and say OK to the pop-up. Again, let's do that for B14 and drag it down. Let's head up to the Merge and Center. Say OK to the pop-up. And that's how you will merge columns as well as rows. So let's talk about shrink to fit. And this is a feature that's not used very often, but I will do a demo just so you know that it's available to you in the event that you want to use it. Let's go to cell G3. And as you can see, my quality in stock doesn't quite fit. I'm going to go up to my alignment arrow and I'm just going to go shrink to fit. And then I'm going to say OK. So as you can see, it reduces the size so it's no longer scrunched up. Okay, and then my final demonstration I want to talk about is wrap text. So if you look and see description 2, I have some just dummy text here just for demonstration purposes. And as you can see, it is spilling outside the cell. So what the wrap text will do, it would fit this information inside the cell, and so it's no longer spilling into the other cell. So let's go ahead and select I5. As you can see, my cell address confirms my location. And I'm just going to go up to the home ribbon, the alignment tab, and I'm going to say wrap text. And as you can see, it wrapped the information into one cell, so it's no longer spilling over. Let's go ahead and do that for I6. But let's go a different route this time. Let's go ahead and select it. Let's go ahead and get the drop down arrow this time. And let's just say wrap text. And then say OK. So this is pretty much the same feature. I'm just showing you a different way to arrive with the same answer. Let's do it one more time, this time doing the right click. Let's say format cells. And again, that's going to take you to the same box. And you can just go ahead and say wrap text. Now you don't have to do this individually. Go ahead and select all the cells that this needs to apply to. So let's go ahead and select I8 and drag it all the way down. Let's head up to our alignment area and say wrap text. Okay, so as you can see, our spreadsheet looks a lot cleaner, and that wraps up this tutorial. Okay, and that wraps up this level up lesson. You are on track and well on your way to learning Excel. Go ahead and take a break after you save your work. You certainly do deserve it. Great job today.